All right. You know, I have this candle, I have these matches, and I'm gonna light it. Because I've just realized this whole time I've had a candle in every single one of these videos, and I've never struck a match to get this party started. And now comes the part where I can't light a match. Oh, there it is, there it is. Boom. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh! Boom! Look at that, y'all. That's pretty. Now we're ready for the state of the YOB. What's up, everybody? My name's Tom, the editor and co-founder of YourOtherBrothers.com, a community navigating faith, homosexuality, and masculinity together. And this is State of the YOB, October 2018. Happy October to everybody. Although, I really should be saying Happy November because October is dead. October is October. And I'm going to tell you everything that happened at YourOtherBrothers.com this month, from the blogs to the podcast to our videos, maybe a sneak peek about what's coming in November. But starting things off with our blog, our good old blog. The month started off with a post from Eugene called The Joys and Sorrows of a Highly Sensitive Man. Any other highly sensitive men out there? I can't imagine there are any watching right now. Yeah, I mean, if you've always felt like you're cut from a different cloth, not even from a sexuality standpoint, just from a base personality standpoint, like you just feel things more deeply. You feel things happier, you feel things sadder, you feel it all around. And if you do, you're not alone at all. And Eugene put to words so much of my struggle as a man. Again, sexuality notwithstanding, trying to fit into a Christian culture, but also just trying to fit into a masculine culture, which is not really kind to the sensitive man. So it was a great post from Eugene. Eugene does all of his artwork, by the way, for all these posts. So anytime you see the featured image for a Eugene post, he drew that himself, and he's extremely talented. And I always get so excited when I get the next Eugene post and the next Eugene cartoon. He actually had a comic strip in this post, which he had never done before. And so check it out. It's cool from an artistic standpoint, and it'll probably hit home if you're watching this video right now. And then a post from Dean called Hundreds of Denominations, but only 2 options for sexuality? ? And it's really great to get Dean's perspective as someone who is in ministry, who works at a church, who's been involved in various denominations. I mean, he lists it out at the beginning of his post, all the denominations he's been involved with, from schooling to his career to basic church attendance throughout his life. And so it's a great introspective post on analyzing denominational differences and in the aspects of Christianity, and then also how that applies to our sexuality. And then, this was really exciting, on October 11th, which is widely recognized as National Coming Out Day, in this month of October, National Coming Out Month, myself and five of our featured authors, we gathered around to have a conversation called Recognizing National Coming Out Day. And it's certainly one of my favorite conversations we did, but it's honestly one of my favorite posts we've ever done, because it was a great collection of stories, and I love stories. I love lots of stories in one place, and so it's really amazing to get 6 very different coming out experiences and stories in one location. And I'm just thinking, like, gosh, if anybody out there who's wrestling with secrecy regarding their sexuality, whether they're a Christian or not, and they're trying to figure out, who do I talk to, or can I talk to someone about this, or what is the path forward, I love that anyone could Google something to get to our website, to get to that conversation, and discover 6 different paths of how we all got to where we've all gotten. You have, on one extreme, myself, who's very open about my sexuality with the entire world, and you have other guys that are not as much, but all of us have come out to somebody, whether it's a parent or a spouse or a sibling or a friend or a bunch of friends or a church or a pastor or somebody. And I hope that post is a blessing to so many people, because it was to me, just to be reminded of the beauty in our stories of bringing darkness to light and not living under a weight any longer. And obviously it takes a lot of wisdom, and it takes a lot of timing to figure out what the right moment to have that conversation with somebody is. But it's my hope that that post can be a little bit of a lamppost. That blog post can be a lamppost. If I was better at spoken word, this would have been beautiful. So check out our conversation on coming out day. And then we had a post called Temptation and Triggers and My Worst Birthday Ever by Matt, who talks about quite the birthday that he had recently, starting with a text message that triggered an old relationship all day long as he went on this really crazy adventure with his family and friends, and a lot of unfortunate things happening along the way with that trigger and that text in the back of his mind the whole time. So if you've ever had that happen where you're just going about your day and then all of a sudden you get interrupted by something that triggers you or tempts you, yeah, I found this very applicable in so many ways in my own life. One of our other blogging brothers, Kevin, wrote a post called Fighting Masculine Insecurities on Spring Break. And honestly, for me, I feel like I'm fighting masculine insecurities on spring break and on every other weekend of the year. It's amazing how something like a spring break trip with college friends, college students, can kind of be this heightened arena where those insecurities kind of really boil to the surface. And so Kevin does a great job just talking about so vulnerably about what he was experiencing at the time, a tragedy in his family, and just how he responded in those moments of insecurity and weakness in a group setting, no less. Good old Dean wrote a second post this month to go with his denomination's sexuality post. He also wrote a post called Should I Let My Daughter Put Makeup on Me? And this is great because I love Dean's perspective as not only someone in ministry, but as a dad, as someone with a little girl. And what do you do when your little girl charges at you with a brush and paint? What was it called? Eyeshadow? I think it was eyeshadow. Eyeshadow and a brush. What do you do? And Dean handles it like only Dean could. And I think Dean did a great job. I love Dean so much. Yeah, so if you're a dad, I think all of Dean's posts are fantastic. But it's a great question about what do you do when you're raising a child in this culture, in this world today, when you have all these questions and all these voices, especially in the Christian world, about gender and sexuality. What do you do in that moment? I think Dean did it right. Then we have a post from Marshall called Abandoning My New Life to Care for My Father. Marshall's in the middle of a midlife crisis series. He's not in the middle of a midlife crisis anymore. At least I don't think. Correct me if I'm wrong, Marshall. But he is writing this series about when he lived on the East Coast and life kind of grew stale, and he moved out west to Seattle. And then, as tends to happen in life, more often than we prefer, unfortunate and tragic things happen. And so Marshall then had to make the decision to abandon that life and return to the East Coast to take care of his father. So I know we have a lot of older people in our community, and we have a lot of caretakers in our community too. Like, I've heard so many stories about older SSA, gay identifying single men who are now caring for their ailing father or mother, or both. And that is not an uncommon story in the least. So I hope that reading Marshall's story can help you at the very least feel like you're not alone in your caretaking endeavors. And yeah, I just want to give a shout out to all the caretakers, because I have an uncle who's one who cares for his father, and it is no joke. It is not an easy life. It is hard work, but it is so necessary and so needed, and so beautiful when it happens. So shout out to all the caretakers. You guys are really awesome. I aspire to love others with such a selfless love as you guys do. And then finally, our last blog of the month was a post from Ryan. When someone comes out to you, we wrote earlier this month about coming out day and how you can maybe come out, and some advice and tips and suggestions for coming out. Ryan wrote a great post from another perspective, the opposite perspective of what happens when someone comes out to you. And this could be written, as he writes in the post, it could be written for a straight audience, for a straight friend, or a straight family member, a mom or a dad. But really though, it could be for anybody. It could be for an SSA or gay identifying person who gets come out to by somebody that maybe they knew, maybe they didn't know. And it's great advice to just be present and to listen and ask questions. And I'm excited for all the comments and all the feedback on that post, because I think collectively we have a lot of advice to offer being on the other end. And so I would love for that post to kind of be a collaboration amongst dozens of voices who have all these different experiences of coming out to people, family, friends, what have you. Our podcast for this month was great. It was me, it was Ryan, and it was Marshall, and we talked about the generations. It was episode 42 of the YOBcast, and we were talking about generational perspectives when it comes to sexuality, when it comes to coming out, when it comes to issues like cuddling or the gay label. There's very different perspectives when you look at millennials, when you look at baby boomers, and would have loved to have some Gen X or some even Gen Z representation in an episode. But at the very least, we have two very different perspectives from the baby boomers and from the millennials. And it was a great conversation. It was our longest episode we've ever done. We had a lot of good content, but also, this is really exciting because also, if you didn't get enough of it, there is actually more. And there's another episode called the YOBalog. It's our bonus podcast, and it's only for Patreon supporters. And it's a 30-40 minute bonus episode that follows every regular episode. There we go. So we've done 3 of these so far. For our last 3 YOBcasts, we have 3 YOBalogs. And it's a dialogue that is kind of an epilogue of each episode, featuring listener calls and comments on the site, feedback on the episode, as well as bonus content and bloopers that couldn't fit into the episode. So it's really great. If you're interested in becoming a patron, you can go to patreon.com/yourotherbros. You can sign up for as little as $1 a month. You can listen to the YOBalog every single episode, and I love doing those. They're fun episodes, and like I said, sometimes we just get on such a good roll with conversations. I mean, we talked for like 2.5 hours, and we can't fit that entire conversation into one episode. So the YOBalog, if you want more YOBcasts, if you want more YOB goodness, the YOBalog is for you. And then since it is National Coming Out Month, our video for the month, our Manly Monday, was a video that I called Jesus Wants Us All to Come Out. And I firmly believe that God does not want us to suffer in silence any longer. And He wants us to experience freedom. He wants us to experience connection with other people. It's why I believe He's put us all here, struggling together, all messed up together. I think He wants us to pour into each other as we point to Him. As this is the last day of National Coming Out Month, I just want to put that out there, that if you're struggling, if you're suffering under this way, at the very least, you can always email us anytime. You can email me anytime, tom@yourotherbrothers.com. If there's anyone else on the website, any other author that you can connect with, that you feel safe with after reading their posts or listening to them on the podcast, shoot them an email. All of their contact information is on our site as well. We would love to help you out and support you, if nothing else, be a listening ear. And I count it such an honor and a privilege to be able to hear those stories. That's it. That's October of 2018. Looking forward to next month, where we put out our first expressions video that we haven't done in a super long time. And this will probably be a more regular thing thanks to our amazing Patreon supporters. Y'all are making more storytelling endeavors possible here at Your Other Brothers. So stay tuned. End of the month, probably, fingers crossed, November of 2018, we'll have an expression video, which I'm really excited about, in the middle of planning that out right now. And of course, more blogs, more podcasts. We'll be doing a podcast on body image next month, so stay tuned for that. Oh my gosh. It's a little behind the scenes intel. My battery just died. Like just now, just where you saw this break happen. And I was paranoid and despondent, and like a fear seized my soul that everything I just said had not been recorded. But thankfully, we're good. I mean, I've already blown out the candle. I've already gotten my keys and wallet. I'm ready to get out the door. I have a thing. I have a day to take on. But in the meantime, that was October. We'll see you in November for the next Manly Monday, and a podcast on body image and an expression video. All kinds of good stuff here at Your Other Brothers. Keep yobbing, as I'm yobbing.